Okay, hi again. This is Mark from the village of Vicksburg. And today I'm going to make a video that I'm going to call Skip's Trojan House. You'll get the pun. Anyway, so the house behind me is one that belonged to Skip Knowles, and he bought it here in the village of Vicksburg in 1991. And Skip lived outside of town, and he has never inhabited this house, and it's not been habitable since the mid-90s. And the reason that this is important is because, see, I'm gonna go for a walk so I can show you a couple of other things that matters when dealing with Skip, and the reasons that I really got involved. I'm gonna walk over to the football stadium and show you guys that, because see, this is the deal. I voted for the new football stadium. I wanted our kids to have whatever advantage we could have. See, like everybody else, you trust your government, you trust the things that happen, that these people are going to actually follow protocol, the law, ethics, all that kind of stuff. And see, what my question is really, did the people who received this special liberty, this selective enforcement in this town, did they know and did they ask for it? Because there's a good chance that these things didn't happen. Maybe Skip didn't even want the cops to do these things. Maybe the people on the board didn't want these people to do these things. Maybe they actually expected, or they thought, that the way that they were being treated is the way that everybody else in town was being treated. Even though for the last 50 years, everybody knows that it's not the case. So what I really wonder is, what were these people, what was their motive? And why did they look the other way when for so long everybody knew that Skip lived in that house, he lived in a house outside of town. He didn't live in that house. But because of the residency requirements for this board and that board and these kind of things, he was allowed to use that as his residence. And this is where the corruption starts, because all these good people look the other way while these people just fleeced our town. And the reason that it matters about Skip and these boards and stuff like that is, see, he was allowed to be on these things, all these different committees and all these different things, these houses, and he had houses all over the city, all over the village, that wouldn't stand up to building codes, wouldn't stand up to these kind of things. But everywhere else in town, we were taking other people's houses. One lady, her family had to pay $13,000 to the village because the village came in and tore down her house. And what I want to know is why these other people weren't held to the same level. Did they know that they were getting special favors, special treatment? And if they did, why didn't they speak up? Why didn't they do something to stop it? See, I've gotten emails, I've gotten letters, I've gotten stuff from people everywhere saying that they moved out of this town because these things are what was going on. They didn't want to live here and support these people. So, in effect, everywhere, there were people that were chased out of town so that certain families could have preferential treatment, so that special people got better treatment, better government services. They got, their families didn't get prosecuted. They got special favors and treatment in ways that the average person on the street was a target for the cops. It's just phenomenal how these things have went on for so long. I had see, what started it for me was 8 years ago. There used to be a creek that ran through here, and the village stopped it up. The village, the president of the school board, they didn't get a permit to dig out the swampland. They just brought in a bunch of after they dug it up and put it in a pipe. See, there used to be. Now I'll try to get this and keep it out of the sun. See, there used to be a creek that ran through here, and every year it would flood. So this land was pretty much unusable for football fields or practice fields. See, on the other side here, there's a creek, and there's woods and stuff here that's never been maintained. And see, this is where it started for me, understanding that the cops would enforce a separate rule for Matt in the village and the schools than they would for the person on the street. So what then happened is that when I got on the council, the thing that became evident more than anything else was that there were people everywhere that had been waiting to speak out, and there wasn't anybody that they could get voice to, that would give them voice. The way that I found out about the budget and about the loans and all that stuff, there was a family that had been really wronged by the village in 5 or 6 different occasions, and somehow they came up with a budget and the evidence of the loans, and they put it in my screen door. They didn't tell me anything about it. It was just there. It showed up. And then a couple of weeks later, I got a phone call from a guy that said, "Hey, did you find that?" And what we had to do to find out why the public couldn't get it is see what Matt and the people had done is the budget for the village that was supposed to be public, they had sent to Lansing, and instead of the forward slashes being on there, they turned and they put them the other way. So see, they got credit for developing and publishing the budget, but what they didn't do was make it something that was actually searchable in the state's computers by the public. So that was one of the deals that happened, and this is how corruption works in a small town. See, the people, and I still wonder, did Skip, did the people on there know that they're getting special favors? Because see, Skip's house hasn't been habitable for a long time, but there's 8, 9 other houses that I can think of that have been tore down, and they were taxed, and those people had to pay for the services that the village charged them for, or I'm sorry, that the bills that the village ran up, they got put on their tax bills. Why wasn't the chief of police made to do the same thing? I wonder. Why wasn't Skip Knowles made to have his house habitable? Why weren't they made to take days off and go to court and answer citations? Why weren't they given 10-day fix-it tickets? Because see, this is the deal. Americans are really into fairness. We're into equality. If Skip's going to run off with the car show, or if he's going to hold us hostage, you know what? There's other groups that will come. We can get a hold of our friends at the city of Kalamazoo. They did a great job with their festivals and with their stuff. We could get the same people, or we could just get advice, and our people could do the work. There's all kinds of things that could happen like that. So that the car show and some of these other festivals that happen actually benefit our merchants that work downtown, that do things that actually are there for the families of this town. Hey, we all want to have those things, those festivals here, but they don't need to be done at the expense of the fairness and equality of our town. Because see, this stadium, I voted for it. I want our kids to have first class experience and stuff. But see, what they did is they didn't get a permit from the DEQ to dig out the land. They didn't get an environmental impacts survey. They floated a 20-year bond and all this kind of stuff. But they didn't do the things that they were supposed to do. And then at every point they do all that they can against the average person on the street of this town. And so once again, I ask, what were these things for? This camera in the tree, these other things, what were they trying to do? It's their absolute corruption that's doing these things. Thanks. Have a good day.